You let out a war cry, and he comes flying out. I was like, holy shit. Hello, and welcome to a new episode of You Incomplete Me, episode 4. And we have a new guest to our little family.
I think it's a Guinness World Record, the youngest podcaster ever.
I don't think so. Somebody must have had somebody younger.
He's not even 7 weeks. Oh, maybe someone had a newborn on, just a flex.
Yeah, just right out the womb. Like, just right out, boom, and then gone. So, like, a couple hours.
All right, next one.
Yeah.
Next one, we'll break the record. We'll look it up.
Yeah.
Cool.
We'll have a podcast while we're giving birth.
Well, we're going to have a lot of kids, so maybe by, like, the 5th kid, I'll be really comfortable, and I'll be like, maybe we can do a live birth.
Oh.
We'll live stream it, you know?
Okay. All right. Well,
so.
why don't we introduce the new guest?
Well, this is Maximus. He's asleep right now. And he's almost 7 weeks, and we brought him to the factory to meet everybody today for the first time, and everybody fell in love. Everybody wanted to touch him and kiss him and hold him, and I was like freaking out internally, and I had to like walk away for a second and be like, they can see him, it's okay, calm myself down. I don't know, it's that mother. I'm territorial, so yeah, they met him. It was really fun and exciting. He was really well behaved. He had a nice stinky diaper in front of everybody, so it was really good. He wasn't embarrassed, so he's a strong-willed man, and it was good.
I'm the exact opposite. Like, I want to show him off. I'm like, this is my son. Look at him. Touch him, hold him.
Yeah, we always like, okay, we're going to go here, but no one's allowed to hold him. Because he's still young and, like, we're worried about his immune system. We don't want people to touch his soft spot on his head, all that stuff. So I'm like, we go into situations where we're like, okay, no one's going to hold him, right? Right, cool. And then Ryan gets so excited, and he's just full of gratitude and, like, love. And he's like, touch my kid. Here, take some of its love. And I'm like, no. We went over this. But he always gets excited.
Yeah,
you always do stuff like that.
I get very excited. I'm proud of him. Well, this episode, we really didn't plan, but we wanted to talk about the whole process of us giving birth to Max. By us, meaning you, and I was kind of just there watching.
It was a team effort. It was.
But why don't you talk about our birth, our home birth?
Okay, so this is crazy. So this might be controversial to a lot of people, so we'll see what the comment section is like. But we did what was called a free birth, and I think it's so funny that it's called a free birth. To me, it's just birth, and the fact that we need a term for it is crazy. But free birth is basically when you give birth outside of the medical industry. So while you're pregnant, you don't go to a doctor, you don't get ultrasounds, you don't get tested, blood work, anything like that. You just trust that your body knows what to do and baby's okay. And then you give birth again, not at a hospital, without even a midwife or a doula. You don't go to the doctor afterward to get the baby tested. Like, you just are intrinsically mom, father, baby, we're paying attention, we know we're healthy, and we kind of do that. So that's kind of the approach that we took, and we got a lot of opinions about that. We're still getting opinions about that, but long story short, we gave birth in Ryan's basement with the fire blaring and Dragon Ball Z on the TV. It was just him and me, and we gave birth on some exercise mats that we used to have from Kingdom of Iron, full circle, and Max was born. That's kind of the short version, but I'm sure you want to go into the long version, so tell your version.
Well, let me go take a step back for a little bit. Why would you do home birth? There's so many things that could go wrong. Why would you choose that? Why would you choose that route to go about doing this? Right? We have the medical system. It's safe. It's clean. And these are the questions that I had as well. Mm-hmm. So why would you choose?
Good question.
Good
question. Yeah, I guess everybody else is wondering too. So I wanted to do this, and I knew I wanted to do this even before I got pregnant. To me, the free birth community, there's a big community of women out there that are all about this. It's very spiritual and, kind of this feminist movement a little bit in a good way. I don't really relate with that. What I related to was, it just makes the most sense to me. I'm very rational. I'm very logical. I'm an organization person. I'm an operations person. And free birth just made sense, right? Like, when I think about giving birth at home versus giving birth at a hospital scares me more. right? There's people with gloves touching your baby for the first time. They're rubbing them in creams, rubbing them off, injecting them. So many strangers in the room, telling you when to push. So many things can go wrong. And every time you watch a movie, all they do is show you women screaming or women dying in childbirth. So I truly felt like I was not prepared for childbirth because my whole life it has been scary, painful, and a ton of interventions. That's kind of what I feel like a lot of women are exposed to. And I just don't resonate with that. And that to me is scary and not worth the risk of all the perceived risks that would come with a home birth. And I did all my research. I knew what would happen if the cord was wrapped around the neck. I knew what to do if it was a breech birth. I knew what to do if I hemorrhaged. I knew what to do with the placenta. I knew how to cut the cord. Like, we were really, really prepared. I made spreadsheets. I had a family meeting and went over it with everybody because everybody else was nervous. And to me, it was just the most rational thing. I am a woman. I was born to do this. Like this is the only thing my body intrinsically knows how to do. Why do I think I need help? Why do I think I need someone to tell me how to do it? And lo and behold, when I actually gave birth, it's the most present I have ever been. I wasn't thinking about the next second. I was there every single second. My mind wasn't wandering on anything. And my body knew exactly what to do. I remember even Ryan telling me to push sometimes because he thought that would be helpful. And I wasn't ready to push, but I tried to push and it hurt in a wrong way, right? Whereas when my body was ready to push, it told me to push automatically and then that was right. And so it's just like, to me, why do I free birth? For me, in my mind, it was the most rational. And I make my decisions strictly based on facts. That's just who I am. And most people will think that's kind of the opposite. Like, aren't there more facts about the medical industry? For me, when I did my research, that's definitely not what I found. How did you feel when we talked about it or when I presented it?
Well, I'm pretty sure most people think it's ridiculous. Just like I thought it was ridiculous. And I just want you to be safe. And now that I know Max, I love him. He's a part of me, but you matter more than him at that time when I was thinking, so why would I not just have a medical doctor help me? They're trained. They can do surgery. They can do C-sections, right? That's what my thinking was. I want you to be safe, right? Mm-hmm. So what would happen if I were to lose you and the baby? Those are some thoughts that run through your head, right? And it's sad because I'm a very positive person. Very positive. I try to find the good in everybody and everything. And I just couldn't find the good in what you were saying, which is crazy to me because that means I was taught to be scared. I wasn't taught to be involved in the process. And if anything, that I was being manipulated by scare tactics to go to the medical system.
You know what? That's my answer. That's my answer. Why did I choose free birth? Because when I told anybody about it, all they did was say something was going to go wrong. And I'm not going to give birth with a method because somebody thinks it's going to go wrong. I'm not going to be making a decision about how I bring our son into this world based off of fear. Period. No decision made based off of fear. Whether right or wrong decision, if it was based off of fear, it is always the wrong decision. And that was the only emotion that I could have to choose the medical industry, was only fear. Sorry, continue, but that makes the most sense to me.
I was just having a meeting before we jumped onto this podcast, and powerful people, managers, business owners, always need options. Powerful people always need options. Most people don't have options, right? They're scared and they think they don't have options. I don't have options. I'm scared. I don't have money. I don't have this. I don't have that. They're not powerful people. They don't think powerfully. They don't think they have options. You always have options, even when you have $0 in your account. You always have options. And so when you were telling me about this option, it made me feel powerful in a way that we could decide what we wanted to do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Right? I've always, in every area of my life, I've realized that you have to have options. Mm-hmm. And this was an option I never knew. And that is wonderful to me to think that, wow, I can choose to do something other than the medical system. I didn't know that. No one tells me that. And I look through movies, and every single time a woman's going to a hospital, she's screaming and about to die giving childbirth, so you think you need a doctor every time, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So the thing is I wouldn't recommend it to everybody.
For sure. Why?
Why?
Yeah, why do you say that?
Well, I can only take it from the male perspective. I think that, candidly speaking, most males are weak.
Mm-hmm.
Most males are weak now in today's society, more unhealthy than ever. Actually, females are more strong. Females are the most financially independent in society ever now. More single females own more houses than males now. They control more higher paying jobs. They're just more powerful now. I found that males now are weaker and weaker, right? And especially ones that are going to help a female give birth, they have to be the strong one. They have to be someone you can lean on, right? Physically, emotionally, all these things. And I'm not saying males are weak. That's not what I'm saying. I'm a male. I believe in men. I train men. I help men. Most of the executives in our company are men. I empower them. I'm just talking on average. If I were to tell you, you have to help your wife give birth the placenta, cut the cord, clean the child, sit for 12 hours.
Wipe my poop.
Yeah, scream like most men, like, no, I'm not doing that. And that's fine. Right? But I was like, I'll do that for you. And because men for thousands of years have been doing this, right? Helping their woman give birth, right? So I just would suggest against it for men.
Yeah.
I just don't think, and also because I've been training women, we own a women's weight loss business and we've owned it for the past 4 years now. So I've talked with thousands of women over the years and I understand women to a degree and I have a respect for them. So that process for me entering birth with you is a deep respect and an understanding.
Yeah. I think you were really good. I mean, I knew you had your reservations. I probably still don't know to the extent of which you were worried or maybe even we can call it scared.
I just wanted you to be safe.
I don't know. Yeah.
I just wanted you to be safe. That's all. Like that, you mattered to me.
But you were really, really great. You know, you had your questions in the beginning. We answered them, and then you were all on board. You had a couple questions throughout, and even though you were, you know, there was a little uncertainty in there, you always stood up for me, and you were always the one butting heads with the people that would question it. So you were really, really good, so I didn't have to. Because I spent my whole life being exposed to what birth looks like in movies or the movie they show you in health class, because that's what I expected, that's how I expected my birth to go my whole life. Now that it wasn't going to go like that, I had zero frame of reference. And so I would say scared at moments about what that would look like. And so for me to have to defend it to somebody else, when I was still trying to defend it to myself, I found quite challenging sometimes. And I would get quite emotional in the moment trying to do it. So I would have to back away and just not engage or stop telling people, because I had to keep that battle for me and my internal self and not battle anybody externally, because the energy was limited. I'm fighting decades of programming. So it was actually, I think I never doubted the process. I never once said I'm not going to do this, but I was nervous. There's probably 3 times where I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know. And then the first time was when I was learning about one of the injections you get post-birth for blood types. If mom and baby's blood type don't match, it could be a problem for your next pregnancy, blah, blah, blah. That's when I was like, oh my God, am I screwing up my future babies? I realized, no, I'm not. That thought in of itself sounds like such a flawed design. God would not make our bodies and not make reproduction so fragile. So that's how I got through that first time. That probably happened at around maybe 4 months. 4 months into my pregnancy, that was the first time I was like, what should I do? And I didn't know about that situation. I got through it. When was the second time? The second time was, I guess there was only 2. The second time was about I think it was maybe 32 weeks pregnant. And I never told you this. So about 32 weeks pregnant. And I'm literally telling my friends and my clients, nobody talked to me, nobody messaged me, I'm getting in the zone. I have text messages, I can see screenshots of saying, hey, I love you, I'm not going to talk to you anymore until this baby is born. So I was getting in my zone. I was like, I really have to protect my space. And then Ryan, he asked a question, but I can tell it was out of concern. He was like, are we, I don't know what you asked. You're like, are you sure this is safe? Are you sure we should do this? Something along those lines. You're looking for reassurance, just like I was at different points, but you asked it at the wrong time with where I was emotionally. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so alone. Then we went to the gym And I went and I cried in the sauna, and it wasn't because of you. It was just because I was so overcome with emotion, just pregnancy hormones and then the prospect of birth. And so I went and I sat and I cried in the sauna, and I was like, you really are alone. If you're alone, you have to be strong. Get over it. And then I pulled my big girl panties up and was like, I can do this. He was just asking a question. He knows as much as I know. So what the hell are we doing? But this is the right path. So that happened. But other than that, I was 100%, even during birth when pain was horrible, and we can talk about the birth in a second, the actual birth. Even when the pain was literally I'm screaming and waking people up in the house, I didn't cross my mind to transfer to a hospital once. Like, it was wonderful. It was kind of fun in a twisted way, if that makes sense.
No, it was fun. Who gets to say they did that? Right?
You got to deliver the baby.
I got to I touched my son
first. The rocket.
Yeah. I touched my son first. Not another doctor, not another person. I touched the baby first. I delivered him. I helped you. And the crazy thing is what's crazy about this to me is how much we as society sexualize women. It's like some people are like, I don't want to see that video. I don't want to see it, right? It's like, this is how you were brought into the world. Mm-hmm. And then if you fall in love with somebody and you're bringing a child in the world, you're gonna like, I don't want to see this. It's a version of you coming into this world, and you're coming in it with, I'm sexualizing my wife. I'm scared. I'm none of that. Like, I was with my son in the present. I delivered him, and I handed him to you, and it was powerful, right? It was.
That's a good word.
It was so freeing and powerful. It was just wonderful. And I guess I'll tell you guys about the birth from my perspective, because Maddie was just in the moment. So every Saturday, Maddie makes me a new meal. So we'll be watching TV, and I'm like, make me that. And then she'll write a note, and then she'll make me a new meal. So every Saturday, she'll make me a new meal. But every dessert, she makes me the same dessert until she gets a grade, a 10 out of 10 for me. So,
You've given me many twos.
So what she'll do is she'll make me a really nice dinner, let's say chicken or turkey or beef. But the dessert, what she'll do is she'll make me like chocolate cake, and then I'm like, that's a 2 out of 10. And then the next week she'll make me the same chocolate cake, but I'm like, it's a 4 out of 10. So we get better until it's a 10 out of 10, and then we move on to the next dessert. But this Saturday she was making a new dessert for us, and she was running up and down the stairs, moving around, and then she was tired by the end of the night, and I see her on the couch, and we're all laying down, me and Maddie, and she starts making like these squinting faces. She's like, right? And I'm like, she's having contractions, right? And she's like, I don't think I'm having contractions. I think I just need to poop.
I thought it's not like I was in denial, which later on the night I was in denial, because I'm like, really? It's happening? Really? Because it's like life without a kid and then life with a kid, and it happens like that.
Yeah.
But it was legit poop cramps. It was poop cramp because your intestines are so squished. For the past week, I was constipated because I was getting so big. It was just a regular feeling that I've had for like a week, 2 weeks, and I was like, oh, it's just getting worse. And I did poop. Like 4 hours later, I had a big poop. I'm like, so even 4 hours into labor, I was like, oh, it's done. It didn't stop.
Yeah. And well, I wouldn't know what a poop cramp is because my intestines aren't squished. But I can definitely tell you when you're constipated, it sucks. Where were we?
So poop cramp, squishy face.
Yes, thank you. All right. Now, then, so she's having contractions. Every 30, 45 minutes, has a contraction, we fall asleep on the couch. We're watching TV, Dragon Ball Z. And we go to sleep, wake up, contractions, go back to sleep, right? This is happening from about 6 p.m. till 11. And then 11 a.m. or 11 p.m. till about 12, her water breaks. And then the contractions get real. And here is the thing about the first time doing this. We were really in tune and listening to each other. And Maddie was trying to get in the most comfortable position. So she's trying to lay down to give birth, which is really unoptimal. She was just compressing the baby, and the baby wasn't moving into the birth canal. Maximus was dropped, but he wasn't dropped into the birth canal fully. And this is about 4 or 5 hours of just going through contractions. So it's about 5 a.m. And I remember touching Maddie, and I said, Maddie, I think we need to walk around, right? And you're like, okay.
Well, it was brutal. Like, I don't know, for any woman listening who hasn't given birth, I thought I was preparing myself by listening to other women's birthing stories, sticking to the free birth stories, of course, not kind of tainting my mind with the medical ones. But I thought I was preparing myself because like, oh, wow, this sounds so nice. And, oh, wow, I'm expecting this to happen because she went through it. Oh, wow, this could be the painful part. And it just didn't align. Like our birth, it didn't align with any story that I heard. And I listened to probably 50 women tell their birth stories. And it was crazy because from like midnight until like 6 a.m., it felt like I had a contraction every single minute for 6 hours.
And so this goes back to the point I said men are weak. Okay, hear me out. I don't mean men are weak. I mean, at this situation, imagine your woman screaming, holding on, you be like, help me. At that point, as a man, you have to be strong. You have to have so much confidence and conviction, and you have to instill so much confidence in them through yourself. And I told him, like, you got this. We can do this. Hold on to me. And that's what I mean, like, you can have no opportunity for weakness.
Yeah.
You have no opportunity as a man for weakness. And we've been training this for years. We started our business and there's times where we owed 100K bills and we didn't know what we can do. But I wasn't like, oh, I don't think we can do this. I'm like, no, we can do this. Right? So that's what I mean. Like if you're going into the situation as a man, you're like, I'm here. I'm standing strong. I'm not going to freak out. And I know a lot of men who have talked about going into birth and they even said to us, I couldn't do what you did. Mm-hmm. Right?
Well, I guess, sad. A lot of men don't even want to.
Let's not sidestep. Let me finish. Let's not sidestep. So we're going through it, and she's walking around. I had a fire going, so we have a fireplace. We had the fire going, so it was really warm in the basement. And it's around 5 o'clock. She looks like a wild animal roaming around, like screaming, scratching me. She's like, so I was standing up. I was upright, and Maddie would be leaned over against me, grabbing on my shoulders, facing me like this, screaming in my face, right? And so that's how it was going for about an hour, and then 6 a.m. rolls around, February 11th, 2024, and she asked me to turn around and grab water. So I turn around, grab some water, I turn back, Max's head is out, right? And so Maddie's a really pale woman, a white woman, okay? Really pale. And then you could see Max's head out, like dark hair. I was like, what the? Like, I was just like, it happened just like that, right? I was like, what? And I turned on the camera because we recorded it. And then I get behind her. So the back of Max's head is facing forward and Max's face is facing backwards. And this is the best part. So I get behind Maddie and Max's face is looking at me and his face is just like squished. He's like this. He's like, get me out of here, man. Right? It's just squished. And it was just like...
And I pooped on him and he was chilling there for a little bit.
And you know what? It was like, it was fine. Like, it was not a big deal. And so he was there and he was like, squished, right? And I was so happy because he was a boy. I could already tell by his facial features, he was a boy. I don't know how to tell you that. Like, I'm guessing all babies look the same, like aliens, as soon as they come out, swollen aliens. But I knew, I'm like, I have a son. But I could process that at the time. And you were exhausted at that point. So we were up over 24 hours because we were up 6 a.m. in the office working. And I actually ran for 25K that day, and then we made dinner. So we were like up all day at the office. Then I did a big workout. I think you did a little one. And then like we were up 24 hours and you were exhausted. You dropped to your knees. And I remember like you were shaking, right? Not shaking out of going into shock. You were shaking because you were tired. Like you just had been up for 24 hours. And so I remember, and this is where the strength of a man really comes in, right? And dude, this is like the strongest I've ever felt as a person. Is you were raw, you were so, for lack of a better term, you're so impressionable at that point. You know what I mean? I could have told you you're weak and you'd be like, I'm so weak, right? You know what I mean? And I was just like, you got this. Like, you freaking got this. Yeah, Max. And so she drops to her knees and she was tired at that point. And I remember I'm like, Maddie, you got this. One more push. And you got like one leg up and you let out a war cry. And this is the best part because I had Max and I was like ready to catch him. I was like, right? I was like in there, right? And You let out a war cry, and he comes flying out. I was like, holy shit. I thought it was like this beautiful, comes out slow. He comes flying out, I catch him, and I just see like dick and balls. I'm like, yeah! It's a boy! Right in my head. Right? I'm like, yeah! And then I hand him to you. And then that's just what it was. We had a good time. We celebrated afterwards.
Yeah, it was so what? It was so what? Like, I miss it.
Yeah, we
like
had such a good
time. In the moment, I was like, this is so painful. I can't. Oh my God, I need a break. Like, I kept saying, I need a break. That was probably the thing I said the most. I'm like, where's my break? I need a break. Because all these women stories that I heard, they were like, usually you get a break. Your contractions stop before you push. And I was like, okay, that's what kept me going. Oh my goodness, Maxie. That's what kept me going was, oh, I get a break. Okay. I think Maxie says, enough talking. So it kept me going. Didn't get a break. Contractions like every single minute. And it was exhausting. Like after the birth and probably for 3 days, I was so short of breath. Like standing up made me winded. Like I have never been so out of breath. It was crazy. And it wasn't because, I was lightheaded and had less blood or whatever. It was simply because I just did a workout for 12 hours straight. I've never worked out so hard in my life. Yeah. My muscles had no oxygen, no glycogen. I was just absolutely depleted and my body couldn't move. It was just recovering.
Well, here's the thing too is I believe you could have done that by yourself, to be honest. And in reality, you did do it by yourself. I didn't do anything. And
you just counted to 60 for me.
I really didn't do anything. And this is what I really feel about life. Is that not to be morbid or strange or negative, I just believe we're all alone. We're all kind of going along this life path alone. And we have our friends with us, we have our family with us, we have our lovers with us. But in reality, we're still going to that last door, death's door alone. Yeah. Right? And so you just want the people kind of walking beside your path to be positive and supportive, right? You didn't want a husband right next to you while you're giving birth to be like, you shouldn't have done this. Bad idea. We shouldn't have done this. You didn't want that, right? You wanted somebody to support you along this path. And I think that's what we're really good for each other is every single step of the way, we're always pushing each other to grow and be better. And this is what I love about the free birth community. This is what I love about business. This is what I love about health. This is what I love about artists and creatives, is they're always trying to push to be better and do something creatively different. Mm-hmm. And in a way, you were an artist because you created Max. And you wanted to paint the picture in your own way. You didn't want to do it the way anybody else did. And people tried to scare you, and people tried to tell you what to do, and people tried to tell you who you are, and people tried to tell you that you have no options, but you decided to do the thing the way you wanted to. And I can respect that. Mm-hmm. I can respect an artist. And I think you're an artist, the way you created Max, the way you did it, the way you chose to do it. Right? And I remember your father. So your dad, I called him right away. I called Doug is your dad. I called him right away after Max was born. I was like crying. I was happy. I'm like, you're a grandfather now. It's like 6 a.m. I'm like, get over here, old man. And he's like, okay. So he drives over and he comes to the house and we're laying in bed. Max is on us and we're sleeping and it's warm and we have a nice heater and we fall asleep and we wake up and we eat and our family's over.
Red velvet cake.
Yeah, we had red velvet cake. We had pizza. It was awesome, right? And it was a really nice experience. And I was having a conversation with your father, and he's like, my experience was not like that. I was rushed to the hospital, and I hear other women screaming, and then the baby, you came out, and you cut the cord, then the baby's taken away, then washed up and wiped down really hard, and, all these things are done to it, then given to the mother, and then the baby has to latch, and then there's these bright lights, and all these things are so fast, and he was explaining this to me, and I'm like, I would have absolutely hated that, and I would have yelled at the doctor, right? I would have hated that. Now that I did this nice, beautiful birth at home and we had this beautiful, soft experience, I can't go back.
No way.
It's like me owning my own company and then working for a shitty boss. Like, ain't happening.
Well, there's like no way anybody can tell us what to do in that situation.
No, like
I'd be like, no thanks.
Yeah.
Nope, not that. Nope. It was so much fun. Like it was so painful, so much fun, and I'm ready to do it tonight again. Like I'm ready to go again. Like I don't know how people just have one baby. Obviously, there's specific situations that allow for only one, but Look at this thing.
But I think you are an absolutely wonderful woman. Most women throw shit in your face. To be like, you don't have to give birth to the baby. You don't have to do it. You don't understand the pain. Not once did you ever do that to me. You're like, I decided to do this with you. I'm not throwing it in your face. And you didn't make me feel like I wasn't a part of the process. So many women I hear like, you don't have to give birth to the baby. You don't know what it does to your body. You don't get a say in this.
Well,
And
it's just like, so I'm going through it physically. You're going through a lot emotionally. Like, you are worried about me. You are worried about your unborn child. There's like, it's not fair to say just because I'm the one pushing him out that I have the brunt of the work. I don't think that that's fair. And I don't think that that's true. Right? Like, so many men, even when with hospital births, they're just terrified. They see their wife in the most pain they've ever seen, and they can't do anything. They just have to watch. And that's got to be tough. Right? So that's where I come from, right?
well, I guess now I got to take a step back. Now I'm sidestepping. Is any man that's beside his woman that's helped give birth is strong, right? And whether you give birth at home or at the hospital doesn't make you weak or strong. I think the point I was trying to get at is the fact that as a man, I think you can't be weak in the sense of when you were asking me for help, I wasn't going, oh my God, what do I do? I was saying it as you have to be a good material that a woman can lean on. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
I think it's like being strong in your helplessness, maybe.
Because there's so many times where we've gone through these issues. When we started our business when we were 20 and 21 and we didn't know how to make rent, but I wasn't every single day saying, I don't know how we make rent. I don't know how we make rent. Right? I was like, we can figure this out. In my head, I was like, holy shit, like this is tough, but I wasn't verbalizing it, making it real. It's like even when I do my first speeches in front of hundreds of people, I'm like, oh my God, in my head, but out my mouth, I'm like, I can do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? And so, and not to put anybody down, women or men doing whatever they decide to do with this process, I just think that you don't get to verbalize weakness in a negative outlet. Mm-hmm. Maybe do it in a productive way by asking questions or getting knowledge because knowledge dispels fear. Right? Mm-hmm. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
And so I just felt like a lot of times, and from a lot of the men I've talked to, especially older men that have talked to me, and all the people that are business have talked to me, like, I could never do that. I would never be able to do that. If I saw that, I'd get dizzy, right? And I just never thought of you as weak, right? I thought of you as an equal, and if you're going through this process strong, I'm going through this strong. But taking a step back, I feel, and I've had this conversation with so many women, is I find that they're really self-involved. They're like, I want to have this baby and go right back to my pre-baby body, or you're not giving birth to the baby, I am. And I always felt like that took the power away from me, and I'm like, I'm in this process with you. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to be here with you. Like, why am I the enemy, right? And you never made me feel that way. Not once. Not once, right? And even now with Max, you're great. Obviously, he cries and he wants his mama, and he wants breast milk, and he wants boobs, right? Like any man does. But you're great. And I really think that if you decide to make a decision, you need to stick by it as a woman. A lot of women are looking for reassurance from their man, right? And at the end of the day, we're both going through this life alone, but together. And if you decide to do home birth and I'm not on board with it, then it's your job to convince me if you're so assured. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. If you're so assured.
Yeah, that was my motto sometimes. Have enough confidence for the both of us. Because I have to. I had to. And it could not have gone any better. And it is exactly what we will be doing from now until forever when we have our 100 children. Filling a van, filling a bus. And it was so amazing. It was the best day of my life. I wish I could relive it. Even like the after. I was tired. I was bleeding. I was wearing diapers and pads. I couldn't walk 2 steps without feeling like I was going to have an asthma attack. But like the whole day, our whole family was around, just chilling, talking, laughing. I was laying on a couch with Max on my chest the whole time, eating Fortino's pizza and red velvet cake, no stress. It was just like, that is how a human being should be brought into this world. Like, I think we'd have nicer, kinder, calmer, stronger people if we were all brought into the world that way, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, if that's how your first start is, like, I think we've given Max a head start a little bit. Do you feel that way?
Well, a lot of people that have come up to me, they said they wish they could do what we did. Right? I really do take advice from people older than me. All the time I do. All the time. People are like, I wish I would have started business younger. Boom, I'm starting it, right? I wish I would have, gone traveling and done it. Boom, I do it. And some people are like, I wish I would have done at-home birth. And a lot of people saying, I wish I could have done this. Mm-hmm. What you did, right? And it was a wonderful experience. It just goes to show you that you are so strong, Maddie, and that you make me strong. You know what I mean? We lean on each other. We lean on each other all the time, right? And you have never played victim to the point where you don't let me rise to the occasion. So what I mean by that is that I find a lot of times where it's like most women go from 0 to 100 real quick, right? And you've always been awesome where you're like, let's talk through this. Let's walk through this. I'm going to do it at home birth and we can do this together. Right. Mm-hmm. And there's been points where like you talk to me about where you're not sure of, and then I would rise to the occasion. You'd give us the opportunity to grow with each other. Right. Yeah. Not you feeling some emotion in the background and all of a sudden it's like, you changed. You don't support me anymore. Right. I don't like our relationship. I'm like, what? Right? Yeah. You were like, every step of the way, you're like, this is how I feel. Let's talk through this and we'll work through this together.
Yeah, we were on the same page. And when we weren't, we got back on the same page. Or we wrote a new page, right? That we could both get on, which I think is important. I mean, especially this is the biggest thing we've ever done in our life. And we've done some pretty big things. This is the biggest thing we've ever done. And I think we did it awesome. I think we navigated the entire journey awesome. And I don't talk about myself very often, and I don't talk about up myself often, like praise myself often, but I think this is so cool, and I will praise myself for this, and I'll praise us for this, because look how cute he is, and he's so sweet, and he's so calm, and it was like, I don't know, for anybody who's been through it, they know. For anybody who hasn't, maybe this will make you think, but we will, we did record it. So we will be releasing the birth video where you can see Max shoot out like a rocket. Did you shoot out like a rocket, sir? You can see Max shoot out like a rocket. Watch his head. Yeah, he shot out like a rocket. You can see the war cry Ryan was talking about. He's probably going to cry and be hungry. So we'll probably have to wrap it up. Any last thoughts, Mr. Ryan?
Wow.
We could do a whole series on this, to be honest. I'm so passionate about it because I think it's so meaningful and purposeful.
My thought. Buddy, what are you doing?
Trying to escape.
Yeah. Get me out of here.
It's like, I'm done.
Let me get started with this real quick. What do I think? Well, I can only comment on myself. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for Max. I'm grateful for a lot of things. And I can only comment on myself about this whole situation. And I really feel that a part of me has died, right? The person before Max and Maddie, and now the person after, right? They're two completely different people. And I really believe, to the core of me, if a man were to have a woman as good as you and have more responsibility like Max, or trying to grow a business or do better in the world or trying to make the world a better place, you'll be a happy man, right? I really feel there's so many times where I didn't even stand up for the at-home birth, but on the outside, I was there for you.
Yep.
Right? And I think of our relationships like, I'll be the thorns, you be the rose. Mm-hmm. I'll be the pain, you be the pleasure. I'll be the shield. That's how I think of myself, right? And I want that. I want more responsibility. It makes me a sharper, more focused Ryan. And so I just feel like a part of me has died in a good way.
Yeah.
Right? And it's made me destined to the person I've always wanted to be, right? I wanted to be a father. I wanted a son. I wanted a beautiful wife I can help and support. I want people, employees, and a business that it changes the world. I want these things. And so when you want these things, God tends to put it on your plate and see if you're ready for it. Mm-hmm. Right? Like I remember a split second when we were giving birth and you were holding on to me screaming in pain. You're like, help me. And I could have been like, I don't know what to do. Right? And I was right there. I'm like, you got this. You can do this. And the thing is, the reason why I could say that is because that's my inner voice. Right? My inner voice is that. And when we're both in those raw moments, it shows who we are. And I love that we went through that raw moment because it showed who I am just as much as it showed who you are. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Even with Max now and the responsibilities growing, it just reveals. It's a revealer. Right?
Yeah, you can't hide anymore.
Yeah, you can't hide, you can't lie. And I was just telling Maddie is thieves try to steal what you have. They try to take what you have. But liars try to steal your reality. And so what I've realized is responsibility reveals your reality more and more to you, especially as a man. Mm-hmm. When you have a woman, it reveals whether that woman thinks you're safe or not. Mm-hmm. When you have a company and you see revenues going up, and it reveals whether you're a smart person or not. It's a revealer of your reality, right? And I hopefully I'm not going too deep or complex into this, right? I haven't talked about this before, but I think the point I'm just trying to bring up is that I'm so grateful the responsibility to have Max and for you to trust me when you and Max were going through this process, because I wasn't a part of it. It was you and him. Mm-hmm. I was just there giving you water. You know what I mean?
In the Starbucks cup.
Yeah,
hey.
Yeah. I was just there giving you water. You were doing it yourself. But I'm grateful that you allowed me into the opportunity to help you and Max. Mm-hmm. That's all. Right? And I'm grateful to be in... That's all. You just become grateful and you have a deep respect for a good woman. And I really believe that if women were to be quiet and listen to you, their lives would get better. I really feel half the success of my life is because of you, right? And from the fact that you gave me a son. So, yeah.
Dick and balls.
Yeah, dick and balls.
Awesome. Well, we're going to sign off with some dick and balls, and we will see you guys next time.
Wait, no.
Oh, what next?
No. It's yours. You can't.
My end? What's the question? My last thoughts?
Yeah, any last thoughts?
My last thoughts. So many thoughts. Okay, I'll end with the first lesson that Max has taught me, among many. He cries when he's hungry. He cries when he's lonely. He cries when he's scared. He cries when he needs to burp. And I realize, and I answer every time. I'll answer every time. I don't let him cry it out. I'll answer his cries every time. And it's taught me that this little human, he's the most in tune human I have ever seen. He only has needs. He only knows what he needs, and he asks you for it exactly when he needs it. And it's amazing. And so when he's hungry, I will feed him. I will not try to get him on a schedule. When he's tired, I will let him fall asleep on my nipple, and I'm not spoiling him, and I'm not training him to be bad. He's telling me what he needs, and that's all he has, no wants. And it's so beautiful because after, decades of tainting my wants and my desires and not being able to tell the difference sometimes, it's just so beautiful. And I don't want to taint him, right? I'm not going to force him on my schedule, force him on my routine, force him what I want him to do, what I would find nice. Sure, I'd like to sleep through the night again, but that's not what he needs. And so it's just such a wonderful, refreshing reminder for anybody out there. Check your wants versus your needs and get back in tune with your needs. Because if you constantly just go after your wants and you achieve your wants, but we forgot about our needs, you're often left unsatisfied and unfulfilled, right? That's why when women lose weight or men lose weight, and if you reach your goal and you didn't change your mindset along the way, you feel just as shitty as you did then as you do now. And I think that's absolutely one of the best gifts Max has given me so far. Just like most in tune human ever. Just, I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat. I'm not bored, so I'm gonna eat. I'm not stressed, so I'm gonna eat. Like he is a completely clean slate. And it's beautiful because we kind of have a completely clean slate of what we want to do with our future now that he's in it. And when we want to have the next kid and the next kid, and we'll have another podcast about the next free birth and all that. But that's my final thought. Am I allowed to sign off now?
Yeah.
Okay, dick and balls. Bye, guys.
Dick and balls.